Hey, my room's a mess and stuff, but I just wanted to say I've been sitting for the last few days. I've been watching Eureka 7, and I'll show you what I'm talking about quickly, just so that you know, because otherwise you're not gonna know shit. That's not the right thing. Oh my god, what have I done? Ba 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 ba. This show. Don't look at that dodgy website. Don't do it. Oh no, don't look at anything else that I've got over here. Super dodge. Okay, good. I think I spelled 7 wrong. Yeah, I did. This show. Oops. Where's the IMDb? It's gotta be good, right? Yeah, I watched this show in kind of like in high school, and I'm watching it again now, right? There you go, fabulous. I'm watching it again now, and it's pretty eye-opening with some of the stuff that the show covers, you know. Basically, I watched the show when I was young and impressionable, and I think a lot of things the show covers is things that I've added to my life or taken on board, if you catch my drift. So for years there's been this song that I wanted to listen to again, and I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was like a woman humming, and I knew it was sad, so I thought it was in the movie We Are Children. No, another Google session, hold on. Definitely not that movie. Movie about the end of the world as people can't have kids. 50 best end of the world movies. That is not what I googled. Children of Men? Or frick yeah, I nailed it, baby. I'm gonna show you this now as well because I worked so hard to get this. Boom, baby. Children of Men. So I thought that this movie came from Children of Men, and I couldn't. Well, this audio clip, and man, I'm just gonna ignore my hair, okay? But I couldn't find it. You know, I couldn't find the song, and I went through the entire discography of the song. Of this movie, and I even watched the movie, and I couldn't find it. It's a good movie. I would recommend. 10 out of 10. I would recommend. 7.9 out of 10. I'd recommend 10 out of 10 that you watch this movie. And then I thought, it's a sad song, right? So it's probably in. It's probably in a sad movie. So I ended up watching a whole bunch of sad things trying to find the song. And so then I watched like Empire of the Sun and that boy in striped pajamas and all that, you know, kind of like sad war stuff. And I recommend this song anyway. Empire of the Sun, oh god, Sogan, I don't know. But anyway. And I couldn't find the song. And I'm now on episode 20. God damn it. 28. 27's where I remember 27 being like, well, this is the show for me. But episode 28, and I can hear that song again. And I had no idea where the song came from. I just knew that this song was important to me, and here it is. And that's something that's been haunting me for some time now, you know? When I say haunting, I mean it's a song I've been hunting down. And I remember I was going through high school, and I would wake up half an hour early, you know. As a high school student, waking up early, you know, is in itself a horrible pain. But waking up half an hour early, I think it was an hour early actually, to sit down and watch the show. And the thing that got me was we had like DSTV or something at the time. That's a South African cable. And I saw an advert for the show. I was like, boom, episode 1 starting tomorrow morning at like 6 or like 7. And I was like, that looks cool. If this is the first episode, like I got on DBZ late, I got on a couple other shows late in my childhood. I don't even think I ever watched episode 1 of SpongeBob. But, you know, those are all cool shows. But I was like, this show looks cool and I want to actually watch from the beginning. So I'd wake up early and I would run downstairs and I would watch an episode of the show. And I did that for like weeks. I think it was like every Wednesday or something it was on. And I would sit down and look forward to it. And I'd watch the show. And then I think I made it quite far in. I probably made it about halfway. I made it to episode 27, that's for sure. Because I remember that shit happening. I remember getting really emotional about that as well, and I ended up getting in trouble because my little brothers came downstairs, and they were like, "Dad, Ben's watching the TV, and we think it's our turn to watch TV." And my dad, being a parent and being like, "Well, I got 2 little shitheads or 1 shithead," so he picked the amount of shitheads that he would want least of. So he got 1 shithead. So I got told that that's not a very accurate assumption of the situation, but he was like, either I got a problem or I got no problem. So he went with the no problem. So he told me to, you know, let them watch their TV. So they came in and they sat down and watched their shitty little show. But I missed like half of my episode of Eureka 7. And then what happened was I kind of lost track of the show. And I remember the impact of episode 29, 27. And I picked up a random episode about 3 or 4 weeks in, maybe more, you know. And they were playing football. And it was the lamest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. It was like you can't go from one extreme to playing football and learning about teamwork. So I think that's definitely some sort of shit filler episode, which is something that shows like this do a lot, you know. And I don't think that's the best move. But then again, if you're sold for X amount of episodes, you're gonna have to make X amount of episodes. So I understand where they're coming from. But yeah, it's this show, I think when I watched it when I was young and impressionable, and I really enjoyed it to the point where I'd wake up early for it, which is something I don't often do. And I got really into it. And then later on in life, I think I watched it throughout, maybe about half a year later or something like that. And now I'm watching it again, and I'm realizing that a lot of the things in this show kind of like shaped my childhood. Sorry about my room, by the way. It's a bit of a mess. But it's just hold on. I got some talking points here. Let me just. It's gonna sound so dodge. That's what I wrote down. So. I wrote down here, when I watched it, young and vulnerable in brackets. So I was like open to new things, and I took this thing on board big time. How it affected my social skills, how it affected my taste in women. and I wrote something about pinching cheeks, which is not a sexual reference. It's what happens to the poor little guy when he gets onto the ship. He gets his cheeks pinched by a lot of people. It's very sad. But it's just quite odd that I would watch the show and I would take on board a lot more than I thought I was taking on board, you know? And there's certain things like his relationship with one of the other main characters. And when I was a little kid, I was like, oh, that's cool, you know, that's so awesome, stuff like that. But then I think I like subtly like really wanted that kind of situation for myself. I think that's quite normal though. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and think that I didn't watch like Roger Rabbit and then fantasize about his life and his sex life and stuff. But I wanted that kind of like a special kind of connection that they get, you know. Now, as I'm saying that now, I'm only halfway through this. It might get shit later on. I don't remember it, so I'm just gonna say that now. And it's like, I think that really did affect me. Also, the fact that she's got like zero social skills in the beginning. I wouldn't classify her as vulnerable, but there's something about not being a social butterfly that I find attractive in women, you know. And I say you know, but you don't know, probably. I don't know. I used to think it was because I was some sort of crazed individual that I would go for women who aren't mainstream. I don't even know if that makes a lot of sense. Listen, I'll go for any woman that gives me the time of day, right? I don't have any standards. But this show made me want to have like an emotional connection with some crazed blue-haired woman that happens to be somehow alien in certain ways, you know. And I think I wanted that, and I think I've always wanted it. I think I've lived the rest of my life wanting something similar. So you've got to be careful, like what you show little kids, young impressionable minds. I'm not saying ban books and shit. I'm just saying like, don't let them watch this fucking show when they're young and impressionable, because I think you're gonna get really, I don't know, into it. I don't know. There's certain points of the show that I think I ran with for the rest of my life without knowing it. So this must have been a freaking big deal for me, you know, to have picked up so much nonsense from the show. But yeah, anyway, that's one thing. Let me just check my notes. I might have something other juicy to talk about. I don't think so though. Nothing too important. I've been listening to this I've got this audiobook. Shouldn't have to try and find the name of the audiobook. So I was listening to a Jocko podcast right now. Jocko podcast is that chunky man that I referenced in the previous podcast, but he's like a ex-military meathead, you know, in the nicest possible way. Please, Jocko, don't be offended. And so, goodness gracious. So he spoke about leadership, and he talks about leadership. That's one of his like, he's currently working like with businesses and stuff and advocates leadership. But he said, besides his book, there's only one other book that he knows of that's good about, talks, that covers, you know, leadership and all the important things, and that's this one here, About Face, right? And basically what this guy does is he talks about his life. Colonel David H. Hackworth, and yeah, unabridged. Oh shit, man. That's why it's 40 hours long. Anyway, listen. You might think, oh my god, who's got 40 hours of their time? Trust me, every single goddamn hour, this guy's talking about something so atrocious that it kept me hooked. You know, uh, jumping into a foxhole and finding there's a dead. This is during the Korean War, which is something I knew it existed and stuff, but I never really put effort into knowing more about it. And this is really opening my eyes. But it's opened my eyes from the point of this guy just keeps saying chinks, gooks, and a whole bunch of other non-appropriate terminology. Um, but like he jumps into this foxhole and there's a dead guy there, right? And he's like, oh shit, I don't want this dead guy. You know, in the beginning he didn't care. He was just like, alright, cool, I'm in a foxhole, I'm safe. And then he goes through this dead guy's stuff, and he sees like pictures of the dead guy's family, and he sees things like that. And then he's like, oh, actually, you know, I don't want this, because it was humanizing this dead Chinese guy, you know. And he was like, I don't want this dead guy in this foxhole with me anymore. I'd rather be in this foxhole alone. So I think he just took shrapnel or something, so his arms don't work. So he's kicking this dead body up the wall of the trench, and it gets to the top, and then this Chinese machine gunner just nails his little, like, he just sprays across his trench, and this Chinese guy's head takes a round and just poofs into this thing of like blood and stuff. And this guy's like covered in blood and stuff, and he's trying to kick this body up the thing, and it's just so fricked up. And that things like that happen to this guy every hour of this audiobooks. He's sitting there, and it just goes from 1 to 100. I'm not going to even say every chapter. It's literally every 5 minutes he's doing something insane, or talking about something insane. And I've made it about halfway through the book. I think I'm like 26 hours in. Oh, there's 26 hours left, and it hasn't slowed down as much as I thought it would. Like, even when he's like not in combat and he's doing training, he's always fighting with people, causing all kinds of nonsense, disobeying, you know, the rules of the army and stuff, and getting into trouble. So he hasn't even covered a lot about leadership yet. He's covered things like, but there's nothing I can document and be like, yo mom, if you want to learn about this, you got to like X, Y, and Z. That's how you be a good leader. It's not as well set up. It's his entire like kind of like life story of being in the army. So I'd imagine towards the end it's going to get a bit lame, where he's, you know, talking about, oh, you know, then I forwarded these papers on and I got them signed by 6 other people, and then we did something constructive, you know. But he hasn't got to that point yet. And yeah, it's like it's pretty in depth, and it's exactly what I was looking for when it came to like a war podcast or a war kind of experience. It's been just as awful as I wanted it to be. But yeah, I think the idea was, in Jocko's podcast, he says, well, if you're not going to get, you know, I think the quote was like, well, I'm really glad that there's this other book, because if I wasn't referencing my book, then I could reference About Face. And so I was like, well, if About Face is about leadership, I got to check it out. I got to see what that's all about. And that's what I've done, but it's not been as shorthanded to the point where it's like A, B, and C. That makes a good leader. You know, that's what I'm looking for, and that's what I think I'll find in Jocko's books. So I'm going to have to get one of those books after this 40-hour rampage. But yeah, it's it just makes rooftop Koreans even more exciting after listening to this book and realizing all the stuff they went through. And rooftop Koreans are a reference to a group of Korean shop owners that were defending their store during some sort of riot. I think it was like Detroit had a whole bunch of bad riots, and they were just burning people's stores and shit. And they were actively targeting like non-ethnic groups to that area or something like that. So it was like Korean people being targeted, Asian people being targeted. So, and the cops weren't coming out. So the Korean people were like, yo, well, we'll just hang out on the roof with sniper rifles, and if they come and riot, then we'll shoot them. And that was like the whole thing. It's a pretty impressive story. I'm not gonna show you another link, But if you Google rooftop Koreans, hold on. Gotta make sure I give you the right stuff. So get your ass on YouTube and then go rooftop Koreans. For me, it's the third one down, but it's going to be way different for you. You're looking for a guy called Count Dankula. He's Scottish. And he'll tell you about the rooftop Koreans. It's not abridged. This is a 10-minute, 12-second thing. I mean, it's probably the ones you could watch. But there's apparently a whole band about rooftop Koreans. I'm just going to show you because I've shown you like 6 things already. It's this guy's video. Like, I haven't seen any other rooftop Koreans yet, but I've seen this one. And here's the songs I was talking about. Anyway. Yeah, that's 20 minutes of your life gone. I think that's going to be good enough. So, I'll see you later. Au revoir.